Breathe in, out, out. I will let you in, out, out. I will let out, out, out. I will let out, out, out. I will let in.
The Ace of Wands is guided by all the fire signs. So we got Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius here. If you can see the little scriptures. When I created this card, I wanted to create blueprints so that you guys can get the idea that the aces are more of a thought than they are an action. With the Ace of Wands, because Wands is the element of fire, fire indicating our actions and behaviors, our aggression. We see here that this is the creation of something very physical. So when we see the Ace of Wands, we are in the process of taking an action. But first, we have to think about it. This is a very ambitious card. It predicts speed and quick beginnings. There's this sense of urgency that we want to take up arms, or we're feeling very determined to get something done. So a lot of us can feel this impulse to do something right away. I wanted to capture different colors of fire because everybody has different types of motivation, as in certain things will get people to act more quickly. When we see this card on the table, it's really all about asserting ourselves and trying to manifest something that will happen in the long run. Like, this is a long-term goal, even though we want it to happen very quickly. There's this sense of momentum. It's like something finally sparked in us, an idea sparked, and so we have to get our hands dirty, or we have to be more aggressive. It's this feeling of pursuing our biggest dream and fulfilling our greatness. Usually this card and all aces, they need a clarity card because, again, it needs to pair up with something in order for it to really make any sense. And I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't do something very quickly, but when we see the Ace of Wands, it's like putting together multiple little things to make it more detailed and refined. And it's letting us know that this wand here will possess our greatest skills and talents, and we're really gonna enforce something here, because with the wand, like the swords, it's all about some kind of weapon, right? So we're arming ourselves with something that is gonna be useful to us later on. So in a way, it's this collaboration of different factors. We got the top of the wand right here, these attachments. It's going to be silver or gold. You know, there's a lot of thinking and a lot of strategy that goes on when we're creating something in our in our minds. I was going to say heads, but it was coming out hinds because I was trying to put them together. But with the fire signs supporting this type of energy, we feel this sense of rush and excitement, this thrill of pursuing something that gives us this creative freedom. The Two of Wands is the first decan of Aries. So there are 3 cards of Aries in the Wands suit, and this is going to be the first one. So it's going to be Mars. If we look closely, we see the blueprint because it follows after the Ace of Wands. So from thinking of an idea or thinking of an action, we are now taking action. Keep in mind with numerology, because this is the second card of the Wands, that 2 represents the union of 2 things. So this is the union between thought and action, and we are now implementing those thoughts into an action. I wanted to capture the flames in the background, which symbolize this determination and this drive to get something done. And we are pursuing and we are crafting something that we know is going to take a lot of hard work a lot of labor. It's a labor of love. And you can gain this sense of she's just in the zone. So when we see this card on the table, it represents just that, because Aries Mars is a very actionable type of energy. And so we are seeing action as it's taking place, and having this self-awareness that it's going to take a long time to craft something that you love, or craft something that you're very passionate about. It's pretty self-explanatory, you guys. But just get the feel of this. Try to envision yourself in the card itself and just hammering away at an idea that you've been thinking about or that you've been holding on to. And we are still at the beginning phases of mastering a craft, a skill, a talent. But with the wands, it's not like the pentacles where it's like discipline or responsibility. This can get a little messy. Our actions can get a little messy, but it doesn't matter. The Three of Wands is the second Aries card, so it's going to be the Aries Sun card. And you can see the sun in the background here. We see this beautiful, beautiful phoenix bird, and trust me, it's a phoenix, you guys. And it represents revival. It represents rising and just soaring to the top, taking flight and pursuing our dreams and ambitions without a second thought. And it's a very positive card to have, because with the Three of Wands, 3 being the gift of magic, we see this beautiful girl just glowing and shining her light to others below, really. I mean, you can't see any people here because they're so high up, but this card is meant to be an inspiration for others. Like, you're shining your light and letting people know that you're on the rise. This unstoppable feeling of reaching new heights, and nobody can stop you from doing it. So when we see this card on the table, it can mean several different things. But again, you have to keep in mind that the wands is more about physical sensations. So traveling will be one of them, like physically traveling somewhere so you get that high. It can be the feeling of just achieving something, even though it can be a minor achievement, and just feeling like you're above the rest. And it's a more enlightening feeling as well, because you know that you are gaining confidence as you soar to the top. The Phoenix reminds us that we have to revive certain things, especially if we've been feeling really low, or we've been feeling like we're not moving up in life. And it can be things that are very physical, like art or writing, singing, dancing, just anything that requires you to move your body in some way. If it comes out reversed, it means that you're on the way down. But it's not like the death card where you need to kill the idea. It's more of there's this decline and coming as a warning that your actions can lead to a downfall. The Four of Wands is the last decan for Aries in the suit. So it is a Aries Jupiter card, a very fortunate card to have, because Jupiter is all about luck and blessings. And if we look closely, this woman here is celebrating something. So this card is more about events, or just celebrating yourself, or celebrating a certain achievement. I feel like a lot of people have a hard time doing that, me being one of them. This card can predict like upcoming events or certain life phases for us to celebrate or to enjoy. But if it comes up reversed, then this is more of a person who is attention seeking, as in they want to celebrate something that they haven't earned. Or it could be somebody who's trying to seek validation through their work efforts, or through certain projects, and just gaining that overall recognition from others. So good or bad, it's about celebrating and honoring yourself. Naturally, you can celebrate it with others if you want to, but a lot of times we want to take the time to celebrate ourselves also in private. I feel like a lot of people forget that. Like, you don't need to celebrate with others to enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you can enjoy yourself by yourself anytime you feel like it. Five of Wands is the first Leo decan, so it's going to be Leo Sun. If we zoom up close, we see these beings fighting over this wand, or trying to climb this volcano. And this just represents drama in itself. 5 is the number of challenges and hardships. So this card is more negative, and it symbolizes people trying to fight for the top, trying to compete. There's this sense of a power struggle between all of them. And even using all your strength just to reach whatever you're trying to reach. And it could be anything. It could be career, it can be love, it can be money, it could be reaching the top of any kind of hierarchy. However, this represents more of the shadow side of people and what they're willing to do to reach the top. And it's this fight for control or losing control of yourself because you want whatever it is that you want, but you're not understanding that other people want the same thing. So you're going to be fighting for it. And it may be a lost cause altogether. Depending on the question, fighting for a loved one, fighting for the career, fighting for the promotion, whatever it is, may be something that goes against your better self. So you're coming out of character just to get this one thing. When competing with other people, we can find ourselves losing friends or losing companions or just losing people that are in the way. And sometimes it predicts that a person will try to kick you off the mountain because they just want this more than you and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. If you see this card in reverse, it's pretty much the same meaning you're just going to lose everything you've worked hard for. But when it's upright, it's more of the sense of you're going to have to climb this mountain and it's going to be challenging and it's going to get ugly. And basically, God's going to test how much you really want it. A clarity card next to this will let a person know what the outcome will be. So always keep that in mind and always use clarity cards. I can't say that enough. The Six of Wands is the second Leo decan, so it will be Leo Jupiter. And this card is the victory card. So if we look closely, we see that these statue-like people are bowing down to her. Somebody's going to be giving you your flowers because you earned it. If you look in the background here, we see that there's this war going on. This is also the card of glory. So glorifying some kind of action and achievement that is won in present time. But it can also be a past action that a person is now receiving their flowers for, like they're now just getting recognition for something that they've worked really hard towards. In reverse, this card can predict that this is just a minor achievement, so that there's still more things that a person needs to do to receive their flowers or for others to recognize their achievements. A person can be feeling like they've done all this work and nobody is there to applaud them. So this is very different than the Four of Wands, where we're celebrating an achievement or a minor achievement and we want recognition. Six of Wands is we are owed that recognition at this point. But reversed, somebody could feel completely entitled to it, even though they haven't worked as hard as others. So this is more positive than it is negative, even when it is reversed. Because even when it's reversed, it's saying that you still won something, but there's still more to be won. There's still a long battle ahead. And so this is just a minor win. And wars can take a long time. So long-term goals, small achievements still, because again, this is the Six of Wands. So this is a middle card. And if we think of all the wands in general, this is a journey that somebody is taking. And as a middle card, you're halfway there, but you're not at a completed state like 10 of Wands. But this is generally a really good card to have, saying that, hey, you should feel victorious. You've done something great. You've accomplished something amazing. And people will respect you for it in due time, if not right now. Seven of Wands is the third Leo card, so it will be the Leo Mars card, a very aggressive card, as you can tell. It's very intense. If we look in the background here, we see that there are a lot of prying eyes, and when they're just watching this going on, this could be a literal sense where somebody's just, or people are just watching you, and so they're going to criticize every action that you take. It's more positive than it is negative because it's like banishing the haters, right? You're just banishing the hate. the hate, the negativity here, you're frying it. But this can be a representation of yourself. You're banishing your own insecurities so that you can start to take more positive actions, or you can make healthier decisions in life. Again, with the wands, it's all about physical actions and behavior. So we see this woman here with her wand and her staff, but she's not afraid. So this is a reminder not to be afraid to confront the things that scare you, confront the things that may or may not harm you. And it's overcoming these obstacles that can prevent us from living our best life. Reversed, it can mean that these people that are watching you may have ulterior motives. They may yearn for your destruction. They may not want what's best for you. So you're going to have to remove yourself altogether, like not be around them physically. Or it can mean that a person is unwilling to let go of any past grudges. Or it can be a more passive person where they can't defend themselves. In a positive aspect, though, it could mean that you are standing up for something or for someone that's either being bullied, or you're trying to give somebody motivation so that they don't feel bad about themselves anymore, so that they feel empowered, they feel stronger. In numerology, 7 is the number of opportunities. So having these opportunities to eliminate things that make you feel disempowered, or making you feel weak, or even inferior. It's really all about seeing our own potential in life and making sure that we aren't afraid to go after these things. But first, we need to develop our strengths, and it can be physical strengths even, and making sure that we can withstand the heat. Because, life isn't always going to be rainbows and butterflies. There's going to be challenges that come along the way. And so we have to be aware that we're going to have to confront things or people that try to challenge us as an individual. It's having the willpower to succeed. It's having the willpower to just move forward, even though there's going to be eyes and you're going to be met with criticism. That's really what this card is about. It's beautiful though, isn't it? The 8 of Wands is the first Sagittarius decan, so it will be Sagittarius Jupiter. Jupiter being a very fortunate card. If we look closely here, we see somebody that has a bow and arrow, and they have 3 arrows here. So this card represents shooting for the stars. This is the card of precision. This is the card of horizons. And just blindly trusting that the arrows will land wherever they need to land. Almost like the Fool, where you have blind faith in something. This is somewhat similar to that. But if you look even closer, we have the little 4-leaf clover here, which predicts more luck. So there's luck in these arrows. There's going to be luck and opportunities moving forward. The only thing that you need to do is put yourself out there, aim and shoot, and just have faith that wherever they land will be lucky hits. You know what I mean? They're going to be luck. Zooming out, we see how this person extends themselves. So they're reaching for the stars. And this represents our overall mindset with things. Like, we want to aim higher. We want to elevate ourselves, having the foresight to see some success. Reverse, this card means that you're being very reckless, like you're a reckless shooter, that you're not in the physical space to receive opportunities or to aim higher. You might have to refine your long-term goals so that you can be more precise when you aim. When we think of arrows, we're thinking of direction. We're thinking of something that could be very painful, but rewarding at the same time. So when we see the 8 of Wands, it's like a gamble. We're taking a risk. We don't know where it's going to land, but we know that it's going to land somewhere good, right? But not everybody is that lucky. They might be overshooting. They might be pushing their luck. So again, having that clarity card next to it will determine whether or not a person is fortunate or unlucky. The 9 of Wands is the second Sagittarius decan, so it'll be Sagittarius Mars. When we look at the 9 of Wands, this is all about stamina and strength, physical stamina and strength. But it can also be a mind over matter, so your mental strength. This card is all about like discipline and just tolerating weight in general. It could be a literal sense where you're physically carrying something. So It can point to a person who's like a bodybuilder or somebody who's really into fitness. This card represents tolerating some type of physical pain. Maybe the person that is coming to you for a reading is going through something physically strenuous and they need to tolerate that kind of pain temporarily. When we think of the number 9, it's this intensity. So I wanted to portray that in the artwork. But when we think about the 9 of Wands too, it's this longevity, and that's why the flames are all blue instead of red. I didn't want to give the sense of warmth here because it's not about being warm, because it's not that type of aggression. This is somebody that's working through some type of physical challenge. And so instead of reacting in an aggressive manner, it's more about internalizing and carrying some type of burden or some type of weight. It's the epitome of tolerance itself. And if we look closely, he's not stressed. He's just holding on to the weight, even though these fiery flames are trying to weigh him down. He's standing firm. He's standing strong. When this card is reversed, it can mean that you're carrying too much on your back. You need to relieve yourself of any kind of responsibilities or things that are weighing you down so you become weightless. Or it could symbolize a person is being weighed on by other people, so other people are burdening them with their own tasks, responsibilities, workload, whatever it is. It's not that person's responsibility. They need to let go of the things. They don't have to be a people pleaser. I wanted to portray loneliness in the sense where this person is carrying it on their own, where they carry a lot of weight on their back and they don't say anything. They don't complain about it. It's their duty to do the right thing. This card can point to that as well. So the 10 of Wands is the last Sagittarius decan, which will be the Sun. So Sagittarius Sun. And this is the ultimate completion card for the Wands suit. If you look closely, you see that this 2 of Wands is very present in here. So it's the same character from this 2 of Wands and the blueprint from the Ace of Wands. This is the card of mastering your skill and your talents. And 10s in numerology is the completion of something, so it's time to elevate. And the next card above that will be the Page of Wands. So we're moving forward, not backwards. If you look over here, these are all the staffs or all the wands from the previous cards, which I love that little detail. And we also see trophies here signifying achievements from bronze to silver to gold. So it's this progression of achievements. We see this massive fire pit here, so it's this eternal flame, like something we should be really proud about, and we should just honor ourselves and even creating some type of shrine to ourselves. Do people think that's weird, building a shrine of all your achievements? I feel like celebrities do that. They have this wall of trophies and awards and everything. Why can't us normal people have that? You know what I mean? Like everybody should have their own little wall or shelf where they've completed something in life, whether it's going to be certificates, whether it's going to be creating something, anything. I feel like everybody should have that in life. And this can be a literal statement of just doing that for yourself. If you look closer, it says master and then an X. So master and then 10. Reversed, this card means that you still feel incomplete, like you are not doing enough. Instead of it being really warm, it's going to be very cold. So you're hungering for more than what you actually deserve. It can also mean that a person's reliving all of their old glory days, like they haven't obtained anything new, that they feel like this is the end of all their achievements, even though as humans, we are continuously learning, we are continuously expanding, or at least we should be, and that we're forever students of life itself. So even though you've completed one skill, or you feel like you've mastered a skill, or you've mastered a project, or you've completed a project, does not mean that you can't continue making more of what you love to do. And if a person is feeling very stagnant, or they feel like they're never going to reach that level of success again, you have to just let your client know, like, hey, you might not feel the way you first felt when you achieved something, but these are different feelings. Everything and everybody has their role in your life. Even your own projects, they have their own life force. So we should never feel down if we aren't always achieving something, or we're not receiving massive success for every project that we do. It's not about that. It's about doing what you love and pursuing all of your passions and feeling good about it. So that's what this card means. It's the master card. It's the reward card, as in rewarding yourself for all of your completions or all of your success, and getting ready and being prepared to move forward. And not necessarily leaving this behind. We always want to be proud of everything that we've done, but preparing yourself physically for the next best thing in your life. So, similar to the Ace of Wands or the Aces, where aces are thoughts, pages are more of actions, and actions after the Ten of Wands. It's more about the union between our ideas and our past actions, but it can also represent present actions as well. So, the Page of Wands is fire itself. It's the element of fire. For this is more environmental. Being in a very fiery place, or a hot and humid place, or even dry and hot like a desert. We see that this person is holding the Two of Wands, so holding the blueprint and searching for the ingredients on the blueprints. So it's taking our idea and going to the resource, or going to the source, and collecting the information, or taking the actions necessary to educate ourselves for the next project. This person's also collecting a certain type of fire, so we're finding our drive, our motivation in environments that provide us that kind of revelation. This card can also mean that you're going to meet a mentor of some kind wherever you're going to travel. It could be an unexpected meeting. It can be an unexpected arrangement through somebody else. Regardless of what it is, this person will provide you the ingredients. It can be a metaphor for our goals, as in we're giving blood, sweat, and tears to a certain project or to a certain person. Reversed, it can mean the opposite, where if we do meet somebody or a mentor that they're very selfish, or can be very abusive, or they're trying to force their beliefs and they don't align with yours, it's more of a warning card, like don't act so impulsively, that this person offering the source, the sauce, is not a very good mentor, or not a very good leader or role model for you. So to look elsewhere, to seek a different environment where you feel like you belong, or that you feel physically at peace with yourself or with what you're doing. And if a person is physically trying to go somewhere and this card comes up reversed, it could mean that going there can be literally too hot for you. Like you can't withstand the heat itself. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you're going to hate it more than you're going to love it. The Knight of Wands is the beginning of the Royal Court cards. And anytime I created any of the court cards, it always signifies or points to an actual person in our life. And it's also the start of the cusp cards in astrology. So the Knight of Wands is the Scorpio Sagittarius card. When we think of Scorpio Sagittarius put together, it's this intense kind of forceful energy. And that's what I wanted to portray here. So we see this dragon in the background, and we see this knight trying to challenge the dragon, or the dragon trying to challenge the knight. It's all about perspective. And this is somebody who's very courageous and very battle hardened. So this can be a person that doesn't mind confrontation, that's willing to put themselves out there physically. So if you try to provoke them, they're gonna come at you like a dragon. This is a person that doesn't hesitate, and a person that is only seeking the truth of any kind of situation whatsoever, and a person that's willing to stand their ground and enforce their boundaries. And if it's not pointing to a person, then this is you telling your client, like, hey, you need to enforce your boundaries. You need to be prepared to stand for what you feel is right. Your moral beliefs, or anything that you feel should be advocated for. Reversed, it can mean that a threat is coming your way, or a challenge is coming your way. And if you're just afraid, if you're not ready, if you're not prepared, then you're going to be devoured. and you're going to lose more than you're going to gain because you're just hesitating to take action. When we see this card, we should never ignore or try to dismiss any of our power. We should always acknowledge what we're capable of doing, but then also understand that during certain moments, we may surprise ourselves. There's some people that I know, they've never fought a day in their life, and then they get into a fight, or they got into a fight, and then surprised everybody. I think they even surprised themselves that they could fight. You know, it's a fight or flight type of feeling. Like you could stand there and fight, or you can cower and whimper. It's really up to you. So this really predicts a certain confrontation, or it could be a confrontation with themselves, and they're the dragon, or they're trying to limit their power, or they're trying to hide the beast within. And this also symbolizes a person's time to really shine and prove to not just everybody, but prove to themselves that they're about their shit. You know what I mean? Like, don't hide it now. Like, you're in the spotlight. It's time to prove who you're meant to be, or who you've always envisioned to be. Like, this is your moment. So you shouldn't feel insecure, or you shouldn't doubt yourself. And when the time comes, everybody will know your name. Like, your name will be marked in history kind of feeling. You know what I mean? The Queen of Wands is a cusp card between Pisces and Aries, and we can see the little glyphs over here. I don't think I said that for the Knight of Wands, but the Knight of Wands, it's in the wand itself. For the Queen of Wands, it's in the little flag in the background. And we see she has the traditional sunflower, because in traditional tarot, they always have the sunflower. And I wanted to keep that because I felt like it symbolizes blossoming and this beauty, and sunflowers are really big, so it's this big and bold type of energy. And when we look further down, we see a panther over here, and I feel like panther is this mysterious type of strength that somebody possesses. It's not all about showboating or showing, you know, who's bigger than the other. It's this enigmatic kind of personality that we see with panthers, and I find that very sensual, and not in a gross way, you guys, but it's this sensual kind of hypnotizing kind of energy that radiates from panthers. You know what I mean? And if we look at this beautiful queen here, she sits on her throne, of course. They're all always sitting on their thrones. Queens and kings, they're all on thrones, and they're just staring at you, you know? They're staring at you because they're portraying a type of dominance over something or somebody. For the Queen of Wands, again with the royal court cards, they symbolize a specific person in our lives. It could be the person, the client, or it could be somebody that the client knows. For the Queen of Wands, this is somebody with very fiery feminine energy. With Pisces, they're a dreamer. With Aries, they have the drive to make dreams reality. They're very fearless, but also very free-spirited. They can be both aggressive and very compassionate, and very sensitive and very reactive. But there's the sense of being very instinctual and also very intuitive at the same time. So when we see this card on the table, again, making sure we have a clarity card to gain more insights, because reading any of the court cards by themselves, you guys, is just not how you read tarot sometimes. You can read it by itself, but it's not really going to give you the clarity or the messages that you need. Because again, these were made with the intention that it points to a specific person. So when the client is asking about a specific situation, it's not pertaining to a person, then this is the card that lets them know that they need to take more decisive actions, or that they need to remove anybody who's wish-washy around them. This is a person that needs to use both their intuition and their instincts, which I feel intuition, instincts, they might be the same thing for other people, but for me, one is more physical. It's like a immediate reaction to something, versus intuition, where we have to sit down with ourselves, get aligned energetically and spiritually, and ensuring that our decisions are based on the combination of our gut feeling and also physical responses. You know what I mean? Like, I know that was a lot to take in. When this card is in reversed, this is somebody who is very, very, very hostile. Somebody who's overly sensitive to the point where it's very not even draining. It's just very hostile. You know what I mean? Like, why are you acting like that? Like, what's wrong with you? So it's this physical frustration and rage radiating from that person. And they just, no matter what, they want you to hold an audience for them. Like, they're just all up in your face. You know what I mean? But rarely do I ever see court cards, and this is just my personal experience. I rarely do I see court cards coming out, and it's in a negative sense. Most times they're very positive. So this can be a person that's very enlightening. This is a person that is very inspirational. They know what to say, what to do. They give some of the best advice. So this is somebody that, not like a motherly energy, but this is somebody that is willing to guide other people through their own actions. And at the same time, encourage their friends, their families to not limit themselves and to go past their potential. The King of Wands is a cusp card between Cancer and Leo. So this is similar to the Queen of Wands, but it's the opposite of the Queen of Wands. They go together, so when you put them right next to each other, they are a pair. So when we see the King of Wands, this is somebody who's very resilient, is very influential. This is somebody that is also very instinctive and also a very protective and loyal person. So the Queen of Wands to me was somebody who was more independent. This was somebody that didn't require the love of other people. Whereas the King of Wands is more of a people person because of that Leo side where they're very charismatic and they need an audience. We see the tiger here, this beautiful tiger. So this symbolizes being very regal, being very noble, being a little flashy, right? Being a little, not like the lion per se, where they're like, oh, I own this shit. But even though we know tigers are not usually in groups, I feel like people are always looking for the tiger, always wanting the tiger's fur, wanting to own tigers when they shouldn't be. You know, I'm not saying that's right because it's not, but there's just something about the tiger that we can't help but want to stare at or want to possess. This is what the King of Wands is. So this is a leader that everybody looks up to. This is somebody that wants to lead other people. And they can do this in multiple ways, whether it's through physical actions, behaviors, whatever it is. They feel this entitlement to the crown, right? They feel, and not a self-entitlement type of feel. It's more of like they were born into this leadership role. It's who they are naturally. This can also point to a person that is very sexual, a person that is very fertile, or somebody with a very high libido where they're just, very physical. This is somebody that's more direct or more decisive, so they're going to react very quickly. When this card is reversed, this is somebody that is very overwhelming to other people, where they're just pushing their ideals on others and just making them believe things that are crazy to them. You know what I mean? Like, this person has a sense of grandeur where it's just impossible to relate to. So instead of being charismatic, this person is just very arrogant. They're very obnoxious. They can be very suffocating, or they can rule through fear and not love and not compassion. So they're very immature emotionally, mentally, or even physically. They're just very irresponsible or very lazy. They can be very impatient. If this card comes out and it's a certain situation and it's not pointing to a person, then it's more of an encouragement card for the client, letting them know that, hey, you need to be a little bit more sensible, a little bit more sensitive, but also you need to voice what you want when you want it. But it can be a warning not to overexert yourself or try to push things onto other people, because other people may not understand or see the vision. And that's okay. It's okay for other people not to see the vision. So pat yourself on the back, everybody. You finished the wands. The next part of the course will be the pentacles.